It's time to get up and go get it. This is the For Brilliant Business Women Roundtable podcast show with Ursula, Sheena, Dominique, and Tanisha. Confident, innovative, resourceful, creative ladies empowerment. Get ready, get set for success.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to today's show. It is time for our round of Success Talk Sundays. I am Tanisha R. Atkins. I'm the host and the CEO of Divas Incorporated. Thank you again so much for tuning in. I'm going to ask those of you that are listening live, or even if you're catching it on the replay, to go ahead and share it to your social media pages so that we can get started for our round of Success Talk. I hope you all got a chance to tune in on last week when I had Tan Tate on the show and we talked about branding. It was a very, very good show. And if you did not get a chance to actually tune in live, you can always go back and catch the replay. So we're going to get started here in just a moment. I am sharing it on the social media platforms. Hope you all had a great day on today. All right, so we're going to get started here in just a second. So Success Talk Sundays, again, this is something that I launched to give a power boost, just to provide a power boost, because let's be clear about something. When you are on the journey to entrepreneurship, there's a lot of work, and most of that work is going to involve you encouraging yourself and motivating yourself. Even though you're talented and we have gifts and talents and all those beautiful things that are going on with hard workers, and we do this and we that, there's still times where you can get discouraged on the journey to entrepreneurship, which is what we're going to talk about today, because we're going to talk about just making sure that you are launching your businesses and your ideas in the right season, because there is a season for everything. The Bible tells us that there's a season for things. And I think what most of us do, well, not most of us, some of us, we get an idea, we come up with all this brilliance, and then we decide, I'm going to turn this into a business, which is fine. That's usually how most businesses start. You find out that you're good at something. You get knowledgeable about it. You begin to go to work and find the resources that you need to bring those things together. And all those things are wonderful. But sometimes we jump ahead of the time. Sometimes you can jump ahead of the season, because sometimes it's just like when you planting a fruit tree or something, or you plant a seed. Now, you don't plant fruit trees. It's just like when you plant a seed. Well, that fruit is not going to automatically just come up. It has to go through all the processes that it has to go through before it actually becomes a fruit, and before you actually can eat that fruit. And so if you just decide one day that you want to grow an apple tree and you put the seed in the ground, you can't just expect it to boom, and I know these day and time they have a lot of technology and a lot of hormonal stuff. Well, it looks like nowadays you can grow fruit with no seeds in it, which I'm not too sure is a good thing, because I don't know about that. I'm not too sure about that. I need to look that up and find out how we get in these fruits from no to be seedless. But, so that's what we're talking about today. We're just talking about in due season, because there is a season for everything. And sometimes as entrepreneurs, you can make the mistake of jumping ahead of God. God, all he did was give you an idea and you're running with it. You don't stop to ask questions. Am I in the right season, Lord? What do I do first? And that's, I know, in some times in your mind, you may be thinking, well, God gave me an idea and I'm just running with it. Well, did he tell you to do it right now? And just to kind of give you an example, I do a daily podcast called Morning Coffee. It's a morning coffee podcast show. Now, back when I originally got the idea of Morning Coffee, I didn't really know honestly, that at the time it was going to turn into a show. I just knew that I liked the phrase morning coffee. I like what coffee symbolizes. People use that a lot of time to wake up. Folgers had the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup, So I knew it was something significant to coffee as far as waking up. So when I got the idea, I immediately went to work thinking I'm going to turn it into a Facebook show. And I didn't really get a lot of response from it when I put it out on Facebook. And so it kind of discouraged me because I was like, now, okay, I know that this wasn't my idea. I know this idea came from God. So I'm not understanding why this is not working. But I just feel like I kind of jumped ahead of the season because now, let me tell you, I put it down for a while because for me, it just wasn't really doing what I felt like it should do. I wasn't really, getting the audience and things that I was expecting to get because, let's be honest, this business came from God, this idea, this big thing. And so anyway, and I'm just sharing it with you because I like to be transparent and tell you because I know some of you may be feeling like that when you're doing things. But so this year I relaunched the morning coffee and I've been getting a whole different response from it. So many people. I launched it on Instagram. I launched it out on YouTube. I did the Facebook thing. And now the response, because you see, at first when I started, I launched it out as a Facebook show. Well, now when it was time to come back, I was going to go back in again and do it as a Facebook show. And then I just had a vibe to go a different way. It was like, it was just like that. Maybe you should try it as a podcast. And I was like, you know what? That's a good idea. We are in the podcast era, which you're listening to now. Podcasts are becoming more and more popular. So to make a long story short, when I relaunched it as a podcast in a different season, now people are great. I have had so many listeners that it was really shocking to me when I look and check the numbers. I'm like, where are all these people coming from? And I believe it's because now is the season that it was designed to be birthed in. And even though then, I to my mind, I was being obedient, but God never said, go ahead and launch it. He just gave me the idea. I didn't go ask him, well, what do I do with morning coffee? What is more? To be honest with you, when I first started it, I didn't even know why. And that's a big thing with entrepreneurs. I teach my clients that whenever you're doing something, you should know why you're doing it. And so when they were asking, well, why did I launch morning coffee? The only answer that I had was, well, this is what I felt like God told me to do. But now when you ask me, because over time, me taking some time to let that morning coffee actually brew before I start serving it up, now I can tell you, morning coffee is an unofficial wake-up call to provoke you to change and grow so that you can have a better life and thriving relationships. Well, I didn't know why I was doing that at first. All I knew was I like to inspire people. I'm an inspirational person. I'm going to use this morning coffee. I'm going to get up and get on Facebook every morning, talk to people, and call it morning coffee. So why am I telling you all this? Because there's a due season for things. That's just real. And if you can take that and apply it to something that you're working on. Maybe you're trying to launch a business and you have an idea and it's, you're getting up, you're showing up, you're putting the time in, you're advertising, you're doing this, and people are not showing up. It's because sometimes you can launch out of season. So that's important to know that. So I actually pulled up a Bible scripture to really back that up, because the Bible, I like to go to the scripture and use that to really help us to look at it from a clearer perspective. So there's a scripture that says, and let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. So that just lets us know that there is a due season, and you just have to be mindful of that. Don't give up. And here's what I learned in prepping for the morning coffee show. What I was doing, once God gave me the idea, I began to kind of read books about things that I wasn't necessarily dealing with, but just I wanted to know more things. And during those times, I read a lot of books, a lot of audio books, just books. And it sharpened up my knowledge on things as far as relationships and understanding why people get in conflict and understanding love on a deeper level, and really spending some time reading the Bible. But so all that time was really my preparation time. That was really my preparation time. And all God was doing was really laying the foundation for what he knew Morning Coffee was going to be. Because it has really been, I really get a lot of good feedback. And I'm not just on here to just promote that podcast or whatever. That's not what this segment is about. But I just want you to understand it, because I know what that's like doing things out of the season. You know, all you know is you got this idea. God gave it to me. Why it's not working? Because are you in the season? Is this the season for that? You can pre-launch too early. So we're not going to be long today. I just feel like, this is what we needed to talk about today. Just making sure that you're in your right season with stuff, because it can get frustrated. And what happens is a lot of times we just quit. You quit and you don't even try no more because you feel like, well, this is not working. But just based on the scriptures that I just read, just said in due time, you're going to reap all of that work that you put into your business. You're going to reap it, but it's going to come in the due season. And you have to understand that if you, based on Christian principles, if you take things back to the word, you will never go wrong, because the word is for us that are believers. This is a Christian-based podcast, so I'm not gonna, try to spend time to explain that. But that's a godly principle that if you don't faint in the due season, and that's just a life lesson across the board, whether you're starting a business, or whether you're trying to, do something new or come into a new season of your life, there's a due season where there's a season where you do the sowing, maybe in preparation for you starting your business, you're supposed to go help somebody else that's already doing their business. Well, that's you sowing. So there's a time when you giving into somebody else's business, and then there's going to come a time when somebody else is giving into your business, because now is your due time. So the word says that this world is based off of seed time and harvest. So there's a time where you sow seeds, and there's a time where you reap the harvest. You have to understand, this is a good life principle. In order for you to be successful at anything that you do, you have to understand the season that you are in of that thing, because there are times when you're doing something and that season has come to an end of you doing that thing. But when you don't recognize that, when you don't understand how that works, you will continue to go on a road, and the provision for that thing that you're doing is no longer there. It has dried up, because you're no longer supposed to be on that road anymore. So you have to understand that you have to start asking questions when you're seeing something that's not working. When you putting out your hard work and you're doing this, and you're reading books, and you making sure you show up on time, and you're getting the employees ready, and you got the t-shirts made, and you're branding, and you're doing the logos, and you're advertising, and you're getting on Facebook, and you're putting it out there, and you're making videos, and you're hiring coaches, and all of those things are not working. All of those things. Why wouldn't that work if you're following the strategies and you're doing this? Because sometimes this is not your season to reap that thing, or to birth, or to launch that thing. And so that doesn't mean that you put it down. That just means that you keep going back over it. You keep laying the foundation. You keep dreaming about it. You keep talking to God. Let him, like I said before, when I first launched Morning Coffee, I didn't know what exactly God wanted me to do with it, because I never went to ask him any questions. I never said, okay, Lord, what do you want me to do with this morning coffee? I just heard the word morning coffee and just immediately got on the road, started running. Well, had I sat down, asked him some questions, he could have said to me, right now, I just want you to write it down. I just want you to write it down right now. And then now I want you to go read these books. Now, had I asked him some questions, but being the ambitious person and, just trying to go get it and innovative and being resourceful and like, yeah, this is going to work. I think I really know that I tried to launch it in the wrong season, because as soon as the due season, and how did I know? Let's talk about that. How did I know that the due season came back up? Because it started coming up in my spirit again about morning coffee. Now, I continued to make posts about different things every morning. I would get up and give a little life nugget, #morning coffee. So I continued to do that. But then it started coming back up in my spirit. Coming back up, morning coffee. And I knew, I was like, okay, this is something else. And so then I let God say to me, podcast. I didn't say it to him. He said that to me. So you see the difference? Sometimes you try to jump ahead of God. And God is like, I'm not quite all the way over there yet, but I think that he appreciates the ambition and the willingness to trust him to step out there and say, I believe I heard from God. I want to do this. I know he definitely, appreciates that. But again, just have to watch for that thing and just understand the season that you are in. So that was today's Power Boost. I am going to actually go ahead and sign off. I hope that you took something from the nuggets from today. I hope that you think about it and don't get frustrated, and that you keep pushing and just know that God has every intention to get that thing to you. You need to wait on your due season. And in the meantime, what do? You go sow. You find somebody who's doing what you are aspiring to do, what you are planning to do, and you go and you try to sow into their business. Try to sow into them, because that's a good way for you to also learn. You just have to put your steps together. You know how they say every step counts? You can't skip steps. You just can't. You cannot skip steps like that. Take every step. Take some time to think about it. Again, had I taken the time to really kind of, again, I don't want to keep, going over there, because this is not a promotion for morning coffee. That's the current thing that I'm, working on other than this right now. And so I'm just impressed by the way all of that, how it all is just like by the day. I just gained so many followers, and I'm like, where are all these people coming from? And the only thing that I can think about is that this is due season. Like all the wisdom, everything, like every day it just comes to me what this show is going to be about. It's like now it flows like butter, and that is the way that it should be. It should be flowing like butter. You shouldn't be necessarily struggling. There are going to be times where it's going to be, everybody has their challenges with things, but it should not be like pulling a tooth to try to launch a business. Not when you're in your due season. Okay? So that has been today's wonderful Success Talk Sunday. Again, my name is Tanisha R. Atkins, and I'm the CEO here at Divas Incorporated. You can connect with me on social media at Divas Incorporated. I'm also on Facebook as Divas Incorporated. On Instagram, I'm at Divas_Incorporated. You can connect with me. Let me know what you thought about the show. Actually going to be starting something new. We're going to bring the For Brilliant Business Women Roundtable discussion back in January with myself, Ursula Hardeman, Sheena Johnson, and Dominique Guilford. And so we're going to bring that back in January to really talk about success. I love getting together with my girls. We get together, and just the amount of empowerment is just amazing. Like, you really need to get around some people that are really rooting for you, and not get around people who are tolerating you. When you learn that there is a huge difference than being celebrated and tolerated, because when you have people that's clapping for you, you need that. Don't fool yourself and think, well, if nobody's clapping for me, I'm gonna clap for myself. And you do in a season have to do that. You do have to learn to say, yes, this is good, but it's just a whole nother level when you have a squad, a team, a group of sisters that are really behind you and like they mean that. with all of their heart. Like, there's just, what other way to really keep pushing and to know somebody's out there depending on me, somebody's looking up to me, somebody cares, somebody sees that I'm adding value to the world and it matters to somebody. Like, it's just a whole nother level. And so even in that, I don't want you to get discouraged, because there are times when you are doing something brilliant, and this has been coming up a lot on social media. The people who you think are supposed to root for you, or the people who you expected to, they don't clap for you. But you got to keep moving anyway. You got to keep moving anyway, because all that means is that those particular people are not your target audience. And that's okay. Sometimes people are so familiar with you, they can't necessarily... I'm not going to say accept. They can't necessarily come to understand how you are qualified to do what you're doing. So that's okay. You have to let people, that's on them. What's more important is that you know that you're doing this because this is what God called you to do. So you're not going to always get an amen from those people. And so that's okay. Don't take it too personal. That's why I told y'all before, as your life changes, so will your circle, because your current circle may not be able to comprehend or receive the new, improved you, what God is doing in your life. So that's okay. Don't talk about them. Don't judge them. I know it's a hard pill to swallow. I've had to swallow that pill myself several times, but at the end of the day, when you swallow the pill, you understand that this is just what it is. That doesn't mean that they don't love you. It just means they don't have that in them to do. And if they don't have that, you can't make them. Like, do you want them to get up here and clap for you and they don't mean it? Or do you want people clapping around you who really mean it, who really want to see you succeed? So, claps mean nothing if they don't mean it. So that's just a little nugget for somebody that's out there. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's show. Thank y'all so much again for tuning back in. Again, I'm Tanisha R. Atkins. Be on the lookout for the For Brilliant Businesswomen. Again, we're coming back in January. And then my girls are going to have their own podcast show. I know Sheena Johnson is going to be coming, and I cannot think of the name of her show. And Dominique also, her show is called What to Expect When You're Expecting. She's going to talk to you about different things that you need to anticipate on the entrepreneurship journey, because there are just some things, especially if you never launched a business before, that you need to understand that's going to come up. So Dominique is going to talk to us about that. And I know Sheena's brand is a 24-hour entrepreneur. So Sheena's also going to talk to us about some of those things, and just making sure that your mindset is ready for success. That's the biggest thing for success. You have to make sure your mind, what do you really have in you? That's what we're going to talk about next Sunday. Who's really on the inside of you? Is it really a winner in there? Is it really a winner? I know we like to say again, it's my winning season, but is it really a winner in there? And how do you know that? Because as soon as things don't work out, which direction does your attitude shift in? So we'll talk about that next Sunday. So thank y'all again for tuning in. That has been today's show. You all have a great, great, great week. You can check out that Morning Coffee podcast show weekdays, 7:45 a.m. You can connect with me also on social media at Morning Coffee Podcast Show on Facebook, on Instagram, and we're on YouTube. And Divas Incorporated is also on YouTube if you want to catch up on some of the past episodes that we've aired. You can check us out on YouTube at Divas Incorporated. Thank you all so much, and until next time, y'all have a great week.
It's time to get up and go get it. This is the For Brilliant Businesswomen Roundtable Podcast Show with Ursula, Sheena, Dominique, and Tanisha. Confident, innovative, resourceful, creative ladies empowerment. Get ready, get set for success.